How do they say? You can't blame me for my trust issue. I've been burnt. I've been betrayed. I've been taken advantage of. I've been used. People steal from me. I'm just too nice. I'm just too trusting. Many of you looking at that wedding ring wondering, I wonder should I just throw it in a toilet to where the sun don't shine. Those that have hurt many of you, Lord knows we all can relate to being betrayed, experiencing it anyway. Let's see what the Spirit has to say. This is a collective reading, but the God of the universe already knew that you was going to check in and watch. No matter what your circumstances may be, do not run your feet to evil and try to get revenge. This will only affect you in a negative way due to karma. Let's see what the Spirit has to say about many of you experiencing betrayal. Those that had hurt you. As you see here, this is movement, choices, and decision. Behind the scenes, the reason many of you have been experiencing betrayal is because the person that's of interest, shall I say, that's not here, but you know who they are. Behind the scenes, they've been making moves. As you see here, to them, they have options, and they're looking at their options. They have a decision to make, and they have a choice. But it has here with the S, choices. So to them, they feel like they have options, and they are looking at their options. Unfortunately, this so-called individual was not devoted, nor were they 100 transparent with you. For whatever reason, while they were with you, they were not content. They were not committed. And then, as you see, behind the scenes, they were looking at their options. They're trying to figure out which door they was going to go through. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. For many of you, this is firm foundation. When this card is up, it represents a strong foundation. I think about someone that has a strong family foundation, as well as financial security. For many of you, this individual felt like being with you, they hit the jackpot. Many of you, this individual stole from. I'm sure you felt like they were draining you dry. You take a look around, their hands were out. And then when you start saying, okay, enough is enough, then they decide to steal from you, trying to take from you what is rightfully yours. Many of you, this is how they saw you, as a firm foundation, which is nothing wrong with giving someone as far as security, but you really want the individual to be with you because they love you. Not just because they see you as a bank, if you know what I mean. Okay? So for many of you, if you felt used in a relationship, that individual felt like if they hook up with you, Yeah, this is pretty much what they were looking for. And I'm sure you felt it in your bank account. Next, this is the wisdom card. When this card is upward, it represents someone that is very wise. They're looking at this family structure and they are very inspired by what they see. This is what they want, okay? What they would like to strive for. Upward represents wisdom. Upside down represents the fool. Many of you have experienced betrayal due to this because whomever you got with, I'm sure they were telling you all what you wanted to hear just to get close to you. Because can't nobody really sabotage you unless you allow them to get close to you. But at the end of the day, this is what you wanted. But this is not what they wanted. Okay? You see that? It represents change. And upward is a good change. But no good change came out of you hooking up with this individual. You two are not equally yoked. They didn't want what you wanted. Okay? I'm sure you may wanted a child. They didn't want a child with you. I'm sure you may want to get married. They didn't want to get married. They pretty much were not committed. Next, we have here memories of love. I'm sure this is how many of you are feeling right now due to experiencing betrayal. You're sitting there and you're reflecting on those painful memories. And actually those good memories that you have with this individual when things were going good. And you're feeling so sad how things have turned out for whatever reason. Right here, this is you holding on to the pain, holding on to the sadness of what could have been. But due to betrayal, they dumped you. They dumped you. And when this card is upside down, yeah, this individual is releasing you. They're letting you go. Okay? However, this look is pretty much what it was. They could have dumped you due to, cutting you off and on to the next, stealing from you and on to the next, taking you for granted and on to the next. Just not being committed, period. But anyway, many of you have experienced this right here, being dumped. Due to experiences of betrayal. Many of you are suffering in silence. You're holding on to the pain of yesterday. Upward represents holding on to. I pray that many of you get to that place of just releasing it and letting it go. But to feel is to heal, so do what you have to do. This is rejoicing celebration. Many of you are not feeling like this. But I've also prayed that many of you will get to that place of rejoicing and celebration, because really they did you a favor. At least you found out what you were dealing with. It could have been worse. So for many of you, you're not feeling like rejoicing and celebrating during this time. Many of you have a decision to make. This is the waiting game. This is the waiting game. And time is ticking, but you do have time. I feel like many of you are procrastinating. I feel like even though many of you have experienced being betrayal in the so-called relationship, whether just friendship, your lover, or your spouse, many of you are just sitting back, just procrastinating, trying to see how things are going to play out. Either they make their move or you're going to make your next move. But be mindful, time is ticking. Eventually, time is going to be up. Either you make a move or they're going to make a move. Hopefully, that next move would be you getting the hell out of that situation, out of that relationship. And lastly, for many of you who have experienced betrayal, this message is for you. This is a trap in fear. This is how many of you are feeling, or shall I say your significant other is feeling. Whatever reason, while they were with you, they felt trapped. They were in a situation that they no longer wanted to be in. But due to the fact they was feeling like this, you got the end of the stick. They wanted out and they just didn't know how to tell you. So instead of just telling you, their actions showed you. So many of your significant others felt like this, trapped in fear. And maybe many of you have felt like this in these so-called relationship unions. You were in an environment that you wanted to get out, but you couldn't see a way out because you felt stuck in a relationship that was no longer serving you. And this individual was betraying you. So many of you could be probably married. You're stuck in a loveless marriage. And you can't see a way out. They pretty much get with you for all the wrong reasons. And we have here temptation. Many of you, due to betrayal, you had experienced it because that person was tempted. Yes, good old temptation. That individual was very tempted and they acted out on that. And you found out. Unbeknownst to you, you were dealing with entanglement. You were dealing with someone that was not devoted nor transparent. You're dealing with someone that was wearing a mask, telling you what you wanted to hear. And they were trying to be all the things that you wanted them to be. But behind the scenes, they were just doing them. They gave in to their temptation and took you for granted. Lastly, this is the authority card. This speaks about mental control and using logic. I think about someone that carried themselves as a leader and they're not a follower. Due to betrayal, many of you stopped using logic. And you became very emotional. You wasn't using mental control. And you were not operating in wisdom. And due to that, many of you were taken advantage of. Instead of exercising your authority. Get your power back, family. Let this be learning moment, okay? A teaching moment, shall I say. Relationships teach us a lot about ourselves as far as how we feel about ourselves. Get your power back and make you number one and learn the lesson. Peace.